Welcome to Front Office Pros. I'm Steve and this is Joe, and we're going to be talking about the Chase Claypool trade. Chase Claypool was traded from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He went to the Chicago Bears for the Chicago Bears second round pick. So just like other deals that went down during the trade deadline, Joe and I are here to talk about it. So Joe, let's get started. What's your reaction to Chase Claypool going to the Bears? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Claypool on the Steelers, honestly. Felt like he was kind of the off-end guy that was kind of left out of the mix. Every once in a while, it was kind of between him and Pickens at this point, who was going to kind of get more involved, with Deontay Johnson kind of being the constant along with Pat Fryermuth. So, yeah, for Chase Claypool, this is great news. The Bears desperately needed wide receiver help. Justin Fields desperately needed wide receiver help. He's got Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet, who they just don't use for whatever reason. And then, Dante Pettis, who never really has been much. Equanimous St. Brown, a guy who never really did much with the Packers either. So, this is a great trade, I feel like, for Claypool and as well as the Bears offense.
Yeah, a second round pick is pretty good compensation, that the Steelers got in return. And I don't know about you, Joe, but I was not surprised by the Claypool trade ever since last year, when he had that back and forth with Tomlin. And, that I think he wanted to play music loudly or something. And, there was, Tomlin is not someone to bring stuff up into the media. And for him to do that, Pittsburgh definitely has a culture that you have to fit into their culture. It's not like a square peg can fit into a round hole. You need to fit their culture. And I thought he was going to be on the way out. I think for him, it's a great location because, his value goes way up. I wasn't a Claypool guy either, but there is no true number one over in Chicago. So he's definitely going to have an opportunity with an ascending quarterback, at least it appears these past few weeks with Justin Fields. So if you're a Claypool owner right now, I have to think that you are definitely feeling a lot better now than 24 hours ago.
Yeah, you definitely have to. And as you mentioned, was not surprised with the Claypool trade. I think we all kind of expected that to get done. What we didn't know what team he was necessarily going to go to, but I think we all expected him to get moved somewhere.
So talking about what you mentioned, the Bears, offensive weapons, I want to, cover them briefly here. So you mentioned a few. Darnell Mooney, obviously, is on a 2-year deal, rookie deal. Same thing with Claypool. You mentioned, Equanimous St. Brown. The one I actually kind of, for some reason, I like the player. I don't know why, but and Kill Harry to me on a 1-year deal. You saw him get that touchdown. I thought I had kind of hopes as a former first round pick. Sometimes you just need a change of scenery to possibly become a better player. I feel a little more concerned about that. But what do you think overall? How does this impact? Obviously, that receiver core was not doing much. And Cole Kmet, we had high hopes for him, and he hasn't been good either. What do you think the impact is with Claypool coming in?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's just going to allow the offense to possibly be a little more explosive.
Hmm.
Claypool has kind of been known to be a down the field threat. Right now, Mooney is about all they have, but he's not a big guy.
No.
So and you mentioned, in Harry. If him and Claypool could play on the outside, it might allow Mooney to kind of be that slot guy, which I think he could be better suited. He's, being a smaller guy, I don't think playing on the outside really has benefited him. But
Hmm.
obviously his speed allows him to get open. But if he could play in the slot, that could really unlock a lot of things for the offense as well.
Yeah, you're right. The offense really hasn't been as efficient, and you've seen a lot of times now Fields has been scrambling, and that's where his extra fantasy output has come from. I spec just from a speculation standpoint, I wonder if it'll affect. Kill Harry was a flyer. I don't know if he's really in long-term plans for them. I think I think it's going to help Mooney. I wonder if it'll hurt Komet or not. I'm not saying both can exist, but Claypool might be that big bodied receiver now that Fields is going to target, in the red zone, stuff like that. I just wonder if the potential that we were hoping for with Komet, because there was there wasn't a lot of options there. I'm intrigued, I guess, by Claypool's possible production there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's honestly, it's wide open. Nobody's gone ahead and run away with that production as far as a wide receiver standpoint goes for the Bears. And I mean, I don't know if there's obviously Mooney has been Fields is like got to have a number one guy, but I can't blame him. I mean, he's the most talented receiver they had on the team. Uh, it's tough. See how much it affects Komet. I understand, another big body guy definitely could. He just there wasn't that much utilization even for him. And it's just been an overall disappointment from what we all expected. We all expected this to be a big breakout year from Cole Kmet and just have never seen it. I don't maybe we still can if there's a little more Claypool's another guy to watch and key on and they don't have to key as much on Kmet, but I just for whatever reason they don't seem to really target the tight end position. I don't know.
Yeah, no, hopefully we see Fields throw the ball more as well. But let's go to the Pittsburgh side. Now that Claypool is gone, how do you think that affects the offensive playmakers around him? Or excuse me, who now are Claypool is gone, but the players that are there that are left behind.
Yeah, I think this is a good thing for George Pickens. I mean, I feel like Claypool was the one guy in his way. Kind of saw like Claypool has a good week. Pickens numbers aren't necessarily what you want to see from fantasy. Then Pickens has the big game. Claypool went away. Then this past weekend, Claypool had a decent game and Pickens had a goose. So those were the two guys that kind of were vying for the ball. Like I said, Deontay Johnson and Freiermuth have been a fixture. Their targets seem to be steady game in, game out, no matter what. It was really Claypool and Pickens, and ultimately the Steelers are like, look, we don't need you anymore, Claypool. This George Pickens guy is ready. So we'll see what happens. But I think he's the big beneficiary here with the trade.
Oh, I'm with you, and I love it for Pickens. I mean, I've been pounding the drum for Pickens, as you know, for a while. And even Freiermuth too. I mean, you're seeing a connection between him and Pickett. I think that offense can be. I mean, the main players in that offense are Pickens, Deontay for at least a little while, Freiermuth, and then maybe I don't know. I mean, Najee Harris hasn't had that good of a season. I know Pickett can kind of move around the pocket a little bit more, so there hasn't been as many dump offs. I think it's too bad because I think Pittsburgh would have liked to see what Calvin Austin has to offer. But with him being on IR, they're just not going to be able to see it. But I think I agree with you. I think this is huge for Pickens. I think Pickens is the guy moving forward in that wide receiver core. But I think in general, it's going to help both parties. From a fantasy output, I think you should be happy if you have Pickens. I don't know if really it changes anything for Deontay, but if you have Pickens or Freiermuth, and then if you had Claypool or Fields, you got to feel pretty good about this.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's not only a win for the players on the field, but I mean, yeah, definitely for us fantasy players too. I mean, Claypool and Pickens, I think it was just like between the two. I mean, they're on the same team and you're trying to figure out which one is actually fantasy relevant on the same team. It's just like I think owners are pulling out their hair almost just trying to figure out what to do with them.
Absolutely. So that was our breakdown for the Chase Claypool trade, having him go from Pittsburgh, heading over to Chicago for a second round pick. And, we are a new channel. So if you really are enjoying this content, please, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell as we are creating more videos. And please send us a comment. Maybe you disagree with us. Go ahead, put a comment on there. We'd love to interact with new people and what we're saying. So thank you so much for watching. And if you like watching this, we've got a couple more trade videos that we're reacting to. So watch a few more and until next time.